Today I'm here with Lisa Haynes, Chief Financial Officer and Head of MBA's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion efforts. Lisa's been with MBA for several years, but before joining MBA, she had a long career in this industry and along the way had many twists and turns. So today we're going to hear the secret to success and how to navigate change. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you, Marcia. It's really good to be here. I love mPower, of course, as you know. I have had, an opportunity to be in 6 different industries in my career. Everything from public accounting to high-tech manufacturing. I've done some career finance, just everything that you could think of. And I've had good opportunity to just kind of progress through my career by taking on opportunities that came my way. I was willing to do some of the jobs nobody else was willing to do. And so I landed at the MBA after spending almost 9 years at Fannie Mae and part of the industry and the fabric of the industry, and the opportunity opened at MBA to come over as a chief financial officer. And it was a great opportunity, but it expanded as MBA started to do more in diversity, equity, inclusion. I got the opportunity to step into the chief diversity and inclusion role, and it's been amazing to have this opportunity to do something different. Outside of, I've been in finance for all of my career, had the opportunity to do other things like HR, working with HR, facilities, that kind of thing. But D&I was something that, while I was passionate about, I had never had that in my portfolio. So it's been great to be part of the growing efforts of D&I.
Well, this is what I mean about twists and turns. And you just said earlier that you were willing to grab those opportunities when they came your way. And it sounds like you may or may not have had the background and the training in those opportunities, but you had the confidence to seize the opportunity in a matter of speaking. And I have watched how much our diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts here at MBA have thrived under your leadership. So I'm curious, what gives you the confidence just to say, yes, I can do that, I'm going to go for it?
Well, I think one of the key things, we talk about being authentic, but even stepping back from being authentic, you've got to answer the question, who am I? And before you can be authentic, who is that person? And so I've been able to answer the question, who am I? And the questions beyond, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a CFO. It's who am I at my core? And by knowing who I am at my core, that helps me be confident. So I'm not shaken by a lot of things because I know who I am, right? And I think that that's key to leadership, particularly as women, that we know who we are so that other things don't ruffle us. And so being confident in who I am and what I can do, whether somebody else necessarily sees that or not, I know what I'm capable of.
So let me build upon that for a moment, because you're describing a trait you think is important for leaders, perhaps women leaders in particular. What are some of the traits that you think are important for us to exhibit as we lead others and as we lead organizations?
Well, I think that confidence that you talked about is so important. I read a quote that said, confidence is silent, insecurities are loud. And so I think it's really important that we allow our confidence to speak for us. And so that's important. And knowing who you are, answering that who are you question is number one. The second thing I think of is this idea of being a coach and a mentor, right? You've got to be a cheerleader for others. It's great to be able to knock the ball out of the park for yourself, but you have to also encourage others and help others to also knock the ball out of the park. And finally, the one that gets me is, it's kind of a trait to take from men. Let it go and get over it, right? As women, we have this habit of ruminating, right? We take something and we just let it, we continue to fester on it. Men have this ability to let it go and move on and almost forget that something even happened. And so, kind of like from the Disney movie, we need to let it go. And that's a trait, just the ability to let things go, I think is really something that great women leaders do. They're able to say, yep, that happened, let's keep moving.
Like Mika says, press that reset button.
Exactly.
We need to do it often.
Exactly, we do.
Last summer around this time, you and I had some conversations about the conversations we think the industry and mPower and our diversity and inclusion efforts should be having in the wake of George Floyd's murder. And we really felt like we needed to shift the conversation from the traditional leadership and business practice And you came up with a great name, the Voices series, Courageous Conversations with Women of Color. And I so enjoyed working with you on that series. It was a 3-part series, and I know there's more to come and that we're going to expand the work in that area. Can you share some of the key learnings that we had, not only as an industry, but from the amazing panelists that participated in those conversations?
Yeah, that was such a great opportunity. The panelists were fantastic, even the stories that they shared. I think some of the things that we learned was, one, it was a conversation that needed to happen. The recognition that experiences for women of color aren't the same as experiences for their white counterparts, regardless of the fact that we're all women, that we experience things differently. And I think that it was eye-opening for people to be able to actually hear that happened to you, or this is how you deal with it. And the way the panel was just so forthright and honest about things that had happened to them, both in our industry and outside of our industry, it was really eye-opening. I think mentoring became a huge conversation. People just felt like they needed that mentoring opportunity. And so I think that was another thing, just recognizing that we need some of that mentoring, but also recognizing that this conversation has to continue with men at the table. And you always say that about mPower. mPower is open to men. And so men have to be at the table for women to really be able to succeed. And I think that was the other thing we talked about was, this is great having conversations about women and what we can do to support each other, being allies for each other. But we also need to bring men into the conversation so we have men as allies.
Exactly. Well, I can't wait for the series to continue. And I know that you're going to take the mPower stage in September at NAMBA and have some more of these conversations. So I look forward to hearing the outcome of that panel.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to ask you to, I'm going to wave a magic wand and say, if you could change one thing in this industry, and if I could wave this magic wand and make it happen for you, what would it be?
I'll put my Chief Diversity Officer hat on and I'll say that I wish the leadership I'd wave the magic wand and have the leadership of our industry look more like the communities that we serve, that it's less of an anomaly and it's more of this is a normality for us to have everybody at the top of the organization be as diverse as we can possibly have them. Inclusion.
It's Absolutely. So important. Well, thank you for all the work you're doing. You are making an impact. I am honored to call you a friend and a colleague, and I appreciate you being here today.
Thank you, Marcia. It's been great being here, and I appreciate the invitation.